So we're going to do this 3-stage breathing practice together. And as always, find a way of sitting that feels comfortable, that feels right to you. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's a sense that our posture, our way of sitting, honors the practice. And perhaps that it's not too loose, but not too tight. And then, rather than trying to make something happen, how about we just ask ourselves a simple question of what thoughts are passing through just now? And there might be lots of thoughts, or there might be not many thoughts. There may be thoughts you'd like to push away, maybe thoughts that you'd like to follow up on. But what would it be like to just acknowledge that you are thinking, that thought happens? And just to recognize that we're thinking is unbelievably useful. It's the alternative to being lost in thought. So what are you thinking? And then most of the time we have some kind of internal weather. How are you feeling? What's it like being you today? And ask this question as you would ask a friend. Listen to yourself. How am I feeling? Most of the time, we're involved with trying to manipulate our experience. So how would it be to just let ourselves be as we are? How are you feeling? With a kindness and a reassurance that it's okay to notice how you feel. And then as we're sitting here together, what sensations might be present in your body? You might start with the obvious ones of how the bum's resting on the seat and how your feet and hands are resting. And there's an invitation to become aware of sensations that might well have been with you all morning, but haven't yet been acknowledged. And it may begin feeling like you're thinking about the sensations or describing them to yourself. What would it be like to just pause that and experience the sensations for what they are, changing, moving? What can you notice? Would it be possible to allow yourself to experience sensations just as they arise, with no need to do anything about them? And you might notice that your body is moving as breath comes and goes. Where do you notice breath in your body? You don't need to do anything special with the breath. Maybe a willingness to let it flow. Perhaps letting the breath go down into the tummy. How would it be to follow the cycle of breath and stay with the sensations of breath coming and going? And then, not because we're supposed to, but because we could, how about setting an intention to stay with the breath, to direct our attention to the breath, and to, in a fairly casual way, stay with the breath? I wouldn't say it's focusing on the breath. It's more like knowing that the breath is happening as a reference point. So is it possible to have this reference point of the breath and to allow thoughts to pass through at the same time? How much attention might you need on the breath to allow the mind to be free, but not to get lost? To know that that reference point is still there. And sometimes you might find that you do get lost in thought. It happens. And the way to notice is to notice that there's no longer an awareness of breath. And the way to come back is to return to an awareness of breath. And there's no need to make it any more complicated than that. And isn't it nice that it doesn't have to be perfect? That we can have this feeling of coming home to the breath. And if you would become aware of your body and how you're sitting, I wonder if we could give ourselves a bit of permission to do as little as possible. So there's an invitation to let go of any sense of holding on or trying that might show up in the body. And if there is something that doesn't want to be let go of, physically or mentally, then we perhaps could just allow that to be there as well. We sit for a few moments with this feeling of being off duty, of knowing what's happening, all sorts of things happening, inside and outside. But we don't need to get involved. And sometimes describe meditation as like old people watching children playing. There's a kindness, there's a warmth, there's knowing what's going on, maybe even finding it funny. Or even if it's difficult, a sense we don't need to get involved all the time. And sit with that. It's almost as if we're not really meditating. And then, as we bring the practice to a close, maybe just reflecting back on what your experience has been. Is there anything difficult? Was there something that you feel became clear? And perhaps having a sense of appreciation that we've been able to practice together all of the conditions that need to come together for this to happen. And perhaps a sense of rejoicing in everyone else's practice, that everyone else has been practicing here. When there's so many crazy things going on in the world, it'd be good to remember that we did do some practice together. And then in your own way, perhaps with a feeling of sending good wishes as you breathe out from your heart, a kind of willingness to share the benefits of the practice wherever they might be needed.